quick finish sketching this in a little bit. Go back to my eraser. And erasing is certainly part of the art of drawing. And so don't ever be afraid to erase. I tend not to do it as much as when I'm sketching just for the fun of it. But I am going to continue drawing and sketching here. The one thing you want to start doing is filling in values on the faces when you get a chance. And in sketching, it's no different. Sometimes it's the values. A lot of the values are what end up really helping to define what somebody looks like. And even in sketches, if you notice, I'm just using broad lines, not going necessarily with the correct contours and directions of the hair and stuff, but just filling it in, filling in the space. And let's see here, working on that a little bit. Now, as I look at this, I go, it's probably not a very good likeness at all right now, and that does happen sometimes when you're sketching. But it's one of those things. I'm going to sit here and just sketch in a little bit and see if I can't keep refining enough to bring it back so that it kind of gives a little bit more likeness of Cary Grant before this is done. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my recording a little bit and just kind of do some refining so that I don't bore you too much with it. So anyway, remember for class next week, do some sketching. We're going to do some sketching in class once again, and also reference for your final. We're going to start working on the reference for the final and the final drawing. Okay, and I'll finish this up, and you'll get to see the last of the sketch when I'm done. Okay, bye. Here I'm just doing a little bit more drawing. I'm not going to do as much talking right now. I'm just gonna let you, as much as you want to watch anyway, watch me continue working on this. I have no idea how long this video is going to go, so we're just doing it for the fun of it. And if you ever wanted to know what I do sometimes at night when the TV is on, and everybody needs to take a break for the restroom and get some popcorn or something, and I'm just sitting there with my computer. Usually there's an image freeze framed on the screen, and I just start taking my this computer and just start sketching away at it. So you're kind of watching what I do for fun. So one of the things you tend to notice as you go on is as the sketch refines and as the shapes refine, the likeness tends to get a little bit better as you continue to sketch along a little bit. Okay. At those eyes, his eyes are a little bit more bigger than what I actually have here. Invade that space just a little bit. Coming with my some tools a little. do just a little bit with the highlight and see what happens when you get those highlights a little better. It's always kind of tell a story with some of these eyes. You get a little bit of a highlight in there. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of time and I'm going to block in a little bit of the values of his face. And just kind of, just to give you a little bit of a sense of what values do to define somebody or create shapes. So I'm going to add a little value yet here. So as far as the values goes, I've put them up here real quick from the dark 100% to about a 10% gray in here. And I'm just going to come over here and on my clear layer, I'm just going to block in a little bit of value just so you kind of have an idea what this would look like. And usually in a painting this is not unusual, just to put a general value down of his face. Let's see what that one is. A second. Let's see if that one's a little closer. That's probably a little closer to his general shape and value of his face. So this is what, so you just kind of block it in. Just the intimidation of seeing a big white area. And then what do you do with it? So what I end up doing is just filling it in real quick. Getting rid of all the white. And then coming in. So I'm just getting rid of all the white, leaving a little bit of the highlight spaces here. And I'll take this, give myself a little bit lighter gray right here. Get rid of it. Finish that up a little bit. And so once you've gotten some of those values in, I can come in here and I can hit my darks a little bit more to round this off a bit, show where the darks are a little bit more in some of these particular spaces right here. And they round off his face. Notice this area is much more in shadow than this side. And so we're just going to place some more values in here in general. Maybe on the edges a hair bit. Definitely under the eyes a little bit. As you can see, this video's got really extended. It's going to be close to 30 minutes, I'm supposing, by the end of it. That's just part of I'm really kind of giving you an overview of how, not just this one, but in general, where you can take how far you want to take your sketches. Okay, and now so we've got kind of the darken. So now we're going to take some of the, we're going to do what's kind of called a negative painting. Start getting rid of some of these. Now that we've got the darks in here, and now we're going to just start pulling them back just a little bit. I know this seems redundant, but that is really kind of how it's done. You kind of add a little bit, and you take a little bit out, and you move back. You go lights to darks and darks to lights. Some of it is just going back and forth a little bit, and in the end, you kind of get a general balance and harmony as you go back and forth into shadow areas and into light areas. Let's see here, a little bit more darkening, so we're going to go up here. That. And it's same with color. When you're adding color, sometimes some of the color starts moving where it's not supposed to be, and into or out of its position, and then you go back and you correct it. What you end up doing is creating a bit of a harmony when you start introducing some of those colors into different places. Yeah, I can see I definitely have him way too thick in general, but that's just part of the sketching technique. Okay. If I were, I'd come in here and I'd widen, or I'd narrow this whole center shape up a little bit, because it's definitely a little bit too wide for him. So I'm just grabbing a little bit more highlighting here for this area. A little bit over here. As you can see, I'm drawing on another layer, so these darks just kind of stay where they are. A little more highlight on his mouth. And as you can see, even if I was doing this as a painting, what you end up doing is doing more and more refining as you go. And I'm just going to go into the actual drawing layer, and some of these lines are going to start disappearing a little bit. Let's see. I'm really about done. I've taken this a whole lot further than I would normally ever take any of my other sketches. If you notice, I've just got rid of that line there, and how that helped this whole drawing immensely. Just doing that, some of those stark colors or values were just kind of overwhelming parts of this. So I'll do the same here. Let's see. I really mean it. I'm about done here. Last thing is I'm just going to make his round this down just a little bit more. This is going to extend his jaw just a little bit more and round it off, which he's needed to do the whole time I've been doing this. So, now obviously not an exact likeness, but you kind of have a little bit of an idea of how you can take his sketch, a sketch, and just keep refining it and refining it. Now, if I were to spend several hours at this, you would notice that it just gets very, 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 very refined. The eyes would change, the mouth would change, the shape of the whole face would change to a degree. And it is all, how far do you want to take something? How far do you want to take a drawing? How far do you want to take something? And it all starts off, if you look at the very beginning of this drawing, it starts off really goofy looking, really sketchy, and all it is just a continuation of refinement and a continuation of refinement. So with that, see you Monday, guys.